YouTube, I can't believe it. I am driving the iconic E30 M3. I remember being in my mid-teens watching British touring cars. These cars being raced on TV and just in awe of the speed of the E30 M3. And now I get a chance to drive it. In the early 1980s, BMW asked their motorsport division to develop the E30 for European touring car racing. The motorsport homologation rules in the 1980s stipulated that at least 5,000 road legal examples of a racing car had to be sold to the general public within the first 12 months of manufacture in order for it to be allowed to race. This was the birth of the M3. Its suspension components were lightened, strengthened and optimised for the racetrack. It had a wider track than the 325i, and to save weight, its front and rear bumpers, side skirts, boot and rear spoiler were all made of plastic. This is a US spec, non-Evo version with 192 horsepower. It doesn't have the Euro dogleg transmission and it rides on air ride coilovers on their stiffest setting. Despite that, I'm hoping that I can experience an authentic M3 drive. Hey Danny, so thank you so much for coming back on the channel. And what do we have here? We have an E30 M3.
We do.
And you're such a young man. How did you get this car? Tell us about it.
Man, I gotta say, I got lucky. One day I woke up and my dad bought it for me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, man. So here it is, man. This is a dream that a lot of us chase. Since I was little, ever since I could probably imagine it to be, I was probably around the age of 11, 12. I saw it on a poster somewhere. I said, man, I don't know what that is, but it's beautiful. And I said, one day I want to have it. So at the age of 15, I got myself an E30 late model, 91 red, 5-speed. And I had that growing up. I learned how to do everything on that car, and I always said to myself, one day I'm gonna own one of these. And I had the financial ability to own one of these roughly about a year and a half ago, and I gotta say this has been the best thing ever. And to answer that question, no, it's not Forex. No, I didn't just bet on GameStop and it worked out. I gotta say it was just been a lot of hard work and dedication, and having a solid financial plan, a solid budget, and a good savings. You know, you got to be really responsible with that, and you got to stay committed to a goal, and that's what you see here.
So this is basically like a racing car for the street, homologated car. I mean, they had to build street versions of this car for this car to be allowed to race. Just fantastic. And this is definitely 80s driving experience. The gear change is wonderful, nice and kind of slick, a little bit notchy. Steering is slow steering rack, but it feels so organic, and this engine just likes to rev. Naturally aspirated 2.3 litre 4-cylinder, 190 horsepower. Engine likes to rev, and it's just like a VTEC. Definitely feels pretty torquey for the capacity, and it just likes to rev, again revving it out. Okay, the brakes are they're not fantastic, definitely older brakes, so I need to brake earlier. Steering though takes some getting used to. But it's very fluid. And you have to adapt to it, you have to adapt your driving style, because it takes more effort to turn than a more modern BMW.
Pretty much all around it is stock, just has a lot of maybe OEM plus touches to it. But I mean, she's as photogenic as it's gonna get. It is wrapped. The original color, it's more on the silver black side. but she is wrapped by SIG wraps locally here in the Riverside area. And it's got a few modifications to it. You got a splitter up front. You got a Evo 2 style gurney flap spoiler. You have some Recaro seats, some Evo Recaro seats, original S14 motor, AC schnitzers, and you have some airlift right on it for my non-purist.
Let's see what it's like from a dig. RPM red line. Nice revving, very free revving. It feels light, but it feels solid. It feels like it's stuck to the ground. Such a wonderful free revving engine. And that sound. How can I describe it? It feels like the car is harmonious. So the way it turns, the way it steers, the gear change, it's all very fluid. I can see why these cars were so legendary. It's because nothing was like it in its day. It just feels wonderful. I feel like a DTM racer right now, starting to trust the car a little bit more into second turn. Got the owner sitting next to me, he's not complaining, which is a good thing. But yeah, it's great fun. I'm not disappointed. I mean, obviously I need to come to terms with the fact that it's not a 500 horsepower car, and a lot of us talk about these cars with rose tinted glasses, and I'm trying to be real. I'm trying to picture myself in the 90s and what this was like, and it really is good. It really is as good as they say. Chassis is really secure, so it feels buttoned down, starting to kind of carry more speed through the corners, starting to trust the chassis a bit more. Got a strong left-hander here, and it's great. The rear of the car feels secure, the front feels secure, lots of grip. I mean, it really does feel like a racer. And that signature 4-cylinder, how? And one thing that strikes me is that everything is matched, it's harmonious. The steering, the power level, the chassis, everything is balanced. There's not too much power for the chassis. The brakes are just right for the chassis. The steering is just right for the chassis. Everything is just harmonious. Alright guys, so brief drive here. Please, if you like this stuff, there's going to be more BMW content coming, more fast car content coming, more iconic cars like this. I want to get some iconic JDM cars. But please, if you like this, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and please stay tuned for more episodes of The Speed Addiction. And I've got to thank Danny for letting me drive this E30, an iconic BMW, an opportunity of a lifetime, just getting the opportunity to drive this car. So I hope you liked it, and see you again later guys. Bye.